What is up, party people? So we got another game here. We have some Restoration Druid solo shuffle. Okay, this is a quick, just one round I want to show y'all because I thought this was a great example of kind of encompasses everything that Resto Druid can potentially do in solo shuffle, especially CC wise. Let me just preface this before I get comments on it. Yes, they did not kick very well. This other team, yes, they did not CC very well. Yes, they did not swap to me much, but the point is, these are the opportunities that you can be taking advantages of. This was not a super low game. This was like a 22 something lobby. And you are going to get these opportunities. It doesn't matter what rating you are, unless you're playing literally the top rating. Yeah, maybe they'll stop everything, but you will have opportunities like this. So my whole point was to show you how to clone, what to look for cloning, and kind of the cloning process on top of healing. Okay, so let's get into it. We're gonna start off this game here. This lobby was against a Holy Paladin, which does make things a little bit easier because they don't have any like grounding totems or anything like that, or range kicks like evokers do. So I start off the game here with Life Loom on both of my DPS. I typically like to Life Loom both and then regrowth myself, so we get the triple regrowth, and then throw out a swarm and Cenarian Ward as well. But they kind of rushed in there, so I just swarm myself just to get the swarms going. I'm going to push in there and going to rake stun the warrior to start. So when it comes to rake stunning, you got to be careful because you could throw off your positioning and get CC'd really quick. So I am going to be try to be a little bit cautious on the side of the hunter, because their hunter could trap me, and then that could throw off all the initial momentum that we had. So I'm going to open up off to the side here, and what I'm immediately going to do is Treant, and I'm going to stick on my Treant. This is something I'm trying to get better at doing myself, but just sticking on my Treant for the opener there. Okay, he pops out over there, so we're going to immediately tree form. This is something that I have been doing recently, and it's been working well, so I'm sticking with it. I tree form pretty much immediately every single game and triple Treant. Okay, what that's going to do is help with the cooldown reduction and just help with an immense amount of healing, like probably the most amount of throughput healing at any healer off the opener, which is going to allow us to get some offensive pressure and allow me to clone more freely. Okay, so at this point here, this game itself, I wasn't able to get any offensive pressure, but there are games where I can get my full hots up, press Heart of the Wild, and just start wrathing things and cloning. This game, you'll see I did not really get that opportunity. He pushes in for the trap. He actually whiffs it, which is fortunate for me. DH walks into the trap. Okay, at this point here, I do make one mistake here, but so we have, at the moment, the Paladin is on clone DR from this blind, and so is the Warrior. So who should I clone? Probably the Hunter, because these guys are both popping offensive cooldowns here. The whole goal is to just kind of counter the offensive goes. So I go for a clone. This guy does a really good reflect. He literally reflected at probably 0.1 second left, and he gets me. I shouldn't have cloned that guy anyway, but it was a good reflect by him. Hots are still rolling here. We're going to make sure that we're treeing on cooldown, and we got blooms at least. Okay, that's always the go-to, blooms and treants. Okay, everything else you do as needed, but at all times, blooms and treants, so you're prepared for at least one swap on you. So we're going to get our silence here. After this, now we're going to commence the cloning processes. All right, so at this point here, Paladin is falling off of DR. Now we're going to push in. I pop my Heart of the Wild because this is going to be a great opportunity just to spam some clones, some fast cast clones. So I cloned the Paladin off the bat here as he was rushing to me, which is great. I might not have gotten that without the fast cast. Going to do a little bit of pressure in there, knock him away. What I probably should have done here is stuck around for a second clone, but you'll see it actually didn't really matter here. So I try to reposition myself away from the Paladin because I don't want to get CC'd. He's coming out for me for a Hodge. DH on my team does a great job Chaos Novaing, and we're going to take advantage of that with the second clone. And at this point here, I would have again tried to reposition again, but fortunately for our team, we got a lot of pressure on the Hunter. We get bubble out. What should be the next process immediately in your brain? Clone the guy low. So we're going to push in for a clone onto the Hunter. We get a nice clone onto him. Bubble is still up, so we're going to try for a follow-up clone there. It's really good. We actually forced out the reflect onto the Warrior. So typically these cloning processes are going to be clone the healer twice, ideally. I usually don't push third DR, especially with fast cast. It's not really worth it if you do miss it. And then clone the lowest DPS to not allow the healer to recover him, and then the third clone, and then after we clone him twice, we clone the third guy. I don't really focus on doing this multiple times, but it's just continuing the pressure offensively. If we just keep one target cloned at all times, we're able to generate a lot of pressure offensively because I don't have to heal, and my teammate doesn't have to play defensive. Okay, so we're gonna pop a clone onto the Warrior here. It was really good that we faked this reflect there. We're gonna push up here and try to just reposition, get ready for this next clone. This guy could have hodged me here, but my Paladin hodges him half, and then I actually quarter bash. That was kind of a move, but I was just doing it to secure this last clone on him, which probably wouldn't have been the best idea because he could have hodged me there. Ideally, wasn't a really good idea, but I do get the clone nonetheless. So at this point here, what is this guy gonna do? Trinket. So he's gonna trinket there. I could have been there to double clone it, but I kind of wasn't. This is realistically looking back, like this is not a good position to be in. I could have just stayed here. I should have not bashed and just stayed on top to have some high ground and some distance, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna actually get a nice clone in onto the paladin once again on that second clone. At this point here, what are we gonna look to do? Well, Hunter actually pushes in for a trap, so what are we gonna do here? We're gonna trinket. So we got a nice trank on the trap, and then I immediately clone him low. This is actually great timing because the paladin was just about to searing glaze us. Glare, I call it glaze. So we get a nice clone low. Again, we ran out of CCDRs on the paladin, on the healer, so we're gonna swap it to the lowest target. So we swap it to him. Now this healer he just cannot recover. Everything he's doing, he's just not working here. Okay, we get searing glared here. I'm gonna look for. I could have went for a second. I should have and could have went for another clone on a follow-up, but I was watching the DR here, and fortunately or unfortunately, the DH had the same idea, which was great. I actually opt to cancel out my trees, so and then I Shadow Meld, Rake Stun, and I push in for a Rake Stun right off the DR, and then we just finish off the Hunter. So that was, I thought, a great opportunity. Look at this guy here. This guy, he's all happy and shit. Look at this. But I thought this was a great example of opportunities to clone. Yes, again, I was not, this other team did not CC me well or swap me well. They could have done a lot more to stop me. But these are, I think you got a little bit of taste of every example of what to do in terms of CCing. And then, you know, while you're doing this, like I said, just make sure that you're keeping your blooms up and your treants. There are comps that are going to be a lot more dangerous for you to do these things, like Windwalker comps or I mean, even this is like the Ret DH could have done better, but like comps that could just one-shot you in a stun in a leg sweep or something like that, you do got to be a little more cautious of. But I took advantage of the moment. These guys were not being very disruptive, so I just went for it, and it worked. So hope you guys learned at least something to take away from this game. And good luck on the rating. I've been having a lot of fun. This is my new druid that I'm grinding up here. I'm trying to go for 2400 from fresh. It was just like when you queue in alt, you just automatically super high rating. So I was like, let's start a fresh guy and we'll work it up, get some practice. But that's it for today, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.